From a 50-foot snake lunging at a helicopter in the Congo to a creepy creature caught on camera deep in rural Texas, and someone or something filmed crawling underneath a bridge like a real-life version of Spider-Man, these are unknown creatures caught on camera that no one can explain. What you're looking at here may not look like much at first glance. It's a snake. I mean, big deal, right? Well, the thing is, this is an aerial photograph taken way up in a helicopter. That snake is said to have been 50 feet long. Back in 1959, Colonel Remy van Leerde, an experienced Belgian World War II fighter pilot, was flying a helicopter over the Congo. As he's flying over the jungle in the Katanga region, he spots something moving down below. He claimed it was a massive snake, and it would have had to be for it to catch his eye way up in a chopper.
Then I was already flying for 25 years, so I have a very good experience of measuring things. And I would say the snake I saw there was close to 50 foot.
The snake had green and brown scales and a head that was apparently 3 feet long and 2 feet wide. You could fit a grown man in its mouth. And as he flew in closer, the snake rose up off the ground about 10 feet into the air like it was trying to strike at the chopper. Van Leerde circled around a few times so someone else on board could snap a photo of it. Of course, skeptics have their doubts, but he stuck to his story up until his death in 1990. But what do you think he saw out there in the jungle? A new species, a leftover from the dinosaur age, or was the whole story a hoax? Let me know what you think in the comments. This next story takes us deep into the heart of Texas, a little rural spot called Dabina out in Fayette County. Michael Demmel captured something really strange on a hunting camera on his property. He has a bunch of these cameras set up, using them to track wildlife like coyotes, bobcats, and raccoons. These motion sensor cameras take about 100 pictures a day, and Michael goes through them every single day. He's been doing this for 10 years, so when he says something looks off, that's really saying something. Well, one night he captured whatever this thing was. He said he thought it was a monkey at first, and to be fair, in the blurry photo it kinda does look like one. Of course, that would still be very, very strange. There are no monkeys just running around in Texas unless one escaped from a zoo, and no, there were no monkey jailbreaks reported. So he shows the image to some friends, tries to get some answers, and the photo eventually hits the local news. Some say the thing looks a lot like a chupacabra, the legendary cryptid that's been blamed for livestock deaths for decades. Others think it has a bit of an alien or skinwalker kind of vibe. Now, the creature's about as big as a medium-sized dog, but the body shape, the face, totally off. Michael said, "In the 10 years I've been reviewing my cameras, I have never encountered anything like it." Even the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department got involved. They looked at the photo but ruled out any normal animal, saying it didn't look like a baby deer or anything they could easily identify. I always liked to imagine Spider-Man was real when I was a kid. Kinda always hoped I'd see him swinging around up there one day. Well, I would have been thrilled to see this next video. This footage was captured at the pedestrian bridge in Kiev, not where you'd be expecting to spot the web slinger, but superheroes do get around. Now clearly this is a person crawling under the bridge, but even so, why? I mean, this is pretty dangerous. That water down below does not look very deep. Unless this person has actual web slinging abilities, if they fall, they're getting hurt or worse. So who is this person? Is it just a thrill seeker? Are they out of their mind? Or is there a chance that this isn't even a person at all and that the camera person caught something otherworldly crawling under that bridge? This piece of footage was uploaded to Reddit by user KeyProposal8529. Some sort of strange creature was peering out at them from the woods. They wrote, "Hello all, I live near the Trail of Tears in Missouri. As I got home one night I saw this thing in the woods by my house. From where it was standing it has to be tall because there's a ditch right below where it stands. Any ideas? I'm terrified. Yes, I stayed in my car until I got the balls to run inside my house." Now, I have no idea what this thing could be. It's hard to make out, but if the Redditor is telling the truth here, then this is a pretty creepy piece of footage because they pass by this area constantly. I mean, it's right outside their home. They know when something is out of place.
In our number 6 spot, we have Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle, actress turned literal princess when she married Prince Harry, has had quite some speculation around her over being a robot. Now, I've heard many things, including reptilian, and some people believe something has just, replaced her. But the robot shapeshifter is an interesting theory. It started when a clip went viral over Harry and Meghan wearing masks to promote Madame Tussauds new Harry and Meghan edition. But what made everyone feel the creeps is not just the fact that their facial expressions are unsettling, but also because Meghan is not blinking. Terrifying. Whereas Harry apparently was. Anyways, I think that this got everyone to start theorizing that even though this is a mask, she may actually be a shapeshifter robot, and you know what? I don't blame them. We're probs living in iRobot and don't even know it. In our number 5 spot, we have President Bush. Now, this is a clip of Papa Bush, the 41st president of the US, speaking in an interview, and his eyes seem to change. For those of you who don't live in North America, there is a George Bush Sr. and Jr., and they both became president of the US. Anyways, this clip is of George Sr., aka Papa Bush, and most people are in agreement that he is absolutely a reptilian. I mean, at this point, I'm starting to be convinced that all the politicians are, but who knows? Maybe the whole world is. Maybe I am. Honestly, I wish I could shapeshift. Then I would just shapeshift myself into a passenger that has a ticket to board a flight to Paris and peace out of here. You know what I mean? Anyways, in this clip, his eyes definitely form into slits, and there's no doubt that if this clip is real, and so many say that it is, then, he's definitely not human. In our number 4 spot, we have Aileen Wuornos. Aileen Wuornos, who is known as an American serial killer, did a number of interviews before she was executed on October 9th, 2002. During a number of her interviews, people claimed to have seen some weird shape-shifting happening. This is a clip of an interview that she did where her eyes appeared to show that infamous reptile slit. There is so many people that believe that sometimes shapeshifters are responsible for some of the worst crimes in the world, and then they just, shapeshift out of prison afterwards after taking over the body of humans. That's definitely an interesting theory. I mean, regardless, clearly Aileen was evil, so even if she's not a shapeshifter, I'm sure someone could make a case for her being possessed by a demon. In our number 3 spot, we have Reptile Woman. This woman has been dubbed Reptile Woman for pretty obvious reasons. The footage that was taken of this mystery woman surfaced online and was apparently not altered in any way. The footage seems quite normal until it's broken down frame by frame, and suddenly it's as if you see a different person. Her hands look different, her back, her face, and her eyes. It's fascinating. I personally wish the footage was easier to see, as it's not fully convincing me looking at something so blurry. It just makes me feel like it's been altered, but who knows? I may be wrong, and it sure seems like a lot of people believe that it's real. There have been a few people that have tried to debunk it, and truly I think I'm with them on their analysis. This one is too blurry for me to think that it's possibly real, but whatever. It might be. In our number 2 spot, we have M.W. Jeffrey Black Hodgson. Let's call him Jeff. For short. So Jeff is the Grand Master of the Masons in Massachusetts. Yeah, if you don't know anything about the Masons, then definitely have a Google sesh later tonight. That's a whole other rabbit hole in itself. But yeah, if you know anything about the Masons, then you probably won't be surprised that they are on this list. The Grand Master, the big guy calling the shots, is in this video, and he certainly shows signs of being a shapeshifter. From his eyes suddenly showing slits to his skin apparently showing evidence, there are a lot of people that believe that this guy is a shapeshifter. And in our number 1 spot, we have Britney Spears. Okay, this one I refuse to believe is real, because I love her. God, I do not want to believe it, but the footage certainly makes you think that it's possible that she's a shapeshifter, or that a shapeshifter at some point had taken over her body. That to me would check out more when you think of everything that she has been fighting for recently in terms of her freedom and gaining full control of her body back again. Who knows? Perhaps there is way more to it than we can imagine. I just love her though, so I refuse to believe that she was born a reptile. Anyways, in this shot, her eyes seemingly show slits at times, just like a lot of the other footage that we've shown, and this would point to some kind of reptile living within her. Of course, we could add Avril Lavigne or Paul McCartney to this list, as there are so many rumors about them being shapeshifters. However, there is no video footage on them shifting just yet.
This first video showed up on a news segment in the Philippines back in 2003. So a basketball coach was filming one of his training sessions, just a normal day with the kids out on the court, airport, everything seemed fine. It was sunny, no drama, but when he got home and started reviewing the footage, he spotted something weird. In the background, across the street, a kid suddenly runs by. Now, why would this catch his attention? Well, the coach didn't recognize the kid at all. In fact, he didn't even see him there while he was filming that day. It was like the boy had just materialized into the video. He rewound the clip again and was totally creeped out. Alright, maybe he was just freaking himself out. Maybe the kids had seen this mysterious kid. Well, he had all his basketball kids watch the video too, and they all freaked out. None of them had seen the mystery kid either. And on top of that, they started telling him about how they'd had this strange feeling that day. Some of them even mentioned feeling cold chills during the practice, which made no sense because it was hot out. It was summer, it's the Philippines. Wanting answers, the coach had the video checked by a professional editor. After examining the footage, the expert confirmed the mystery figure was definitely there. There were no signs of tampering and no digital tricks. What you're looking at here is security footage captured inside a church in Texas. The identity of this person is still unknown. On April 18th, 2016, 45-year-old fitness instructor Missy Bevers was found dead inside the Creekside Church of Christ in Midlothian, Texas. She'd gone in early, around 4 a.m. to set up for one of her boot camp classes. By 5 a.m., a student arrived and found her body. She'd suffered multiple puncture wounds to the head and chest, and a hammer was also found nearby. Surveillance footage from inside the church, taken shortly before the attack, showed a figure dressed in full SWAT-style tactical gear, a black helmet, a vest, marked police gloves, slowly walking through the building. The person is seen opening doors and just casually smashing windows. They had a noticeable limp or some kind of awkward gait, possibly dragging one leg at times. Police still haven't even identified though if the suspect is male or female. Strangely, nothing was stolen either. Missy's iPad and personal belongings were left untouched. The church's exterior cameras weren't working that day, and investigators never released footage showing the actual encounter. It's believed that the killer waited inside and ambushed her. The 2010 to 2012 Nissan Altima was caught on a nearby store security cam, circling the parking lot around 2 a.m., flashing headlights and acting suspiciously. That driver was never identified. Missy had also been receiving strange LinkedIn messages from a man before her death. We don't know if that's connected or not. To this day, even with all this footage, no one knows who killed her or why. This eerie footage was posted to YouTube by Chad Logan back in 2012, and it's been a complete mystery ever since. It's just 5 minutes of this creepy 8mm footage. Most of the video is pretty innocuous until it gets to the woods. Here we see the camera person following this old woman into the woods before we're eventually led to a cloth sack on the ground. The camera person gets up close to the bag and opens it, revealing what looks to be human hair, and then a full human head. There's only one other video on this person's channel called Bitterroot Photos. Here we see Chad holding up a series of old black and white photos which supposedly came with the reel of film that he received. For context, he was a student at a university in New York. He just moved into a studio apartment and needed some furniture. Found a guy on Craigslist that wanted to desperately get rid of his things at super cheap prices. He sold things in bulk to get rid of as much as possible. Chad bought a small table, and with it came a bunch of other random things, one being this old wooden box. He had to force open the lid with a screwdriver, and inside he found these old pictures. The word Bitterroot was handwritten on the backs of all of them. There was also a tin can that contained a reel of 8mm film. To this day, we've never gotten any updates. Notice anything strange about this next clip? Yeah, where the hell did that dog come from? So this video comes out of Chile, was posted to YouTube back in 2015. What I like about this one is that there's a very good reason for someone to be filming the road. There's a street race happening. Sometimes I watch, supposed real ghost or cryptid footage, and I'm like, alright, but why did they have their camera out in the first place? Anyway, this one looks pretty convincing to me, but what do you all think? Let us know down in the comments. This is the last known footage of a man named Stephen Kocher. Back in 2009, Stephen was living in Salt Lake City, Utah. He'd quit his job and moved down south to St. George, hoping to start fresh, but things weren't exactly going great. He couldn't find steady work, money was tight, and life was just kinda stuck in neutral. Then out of nowhere on December 12th, he up and left town. The next day, Stephen calls a couple of his friends and tells them he's in Las Vegas, but he doesn't say why he's there or or what he's doing. That's the last time anyone ever heard from him. A few days later, police find his car parked in a quiet suburban neighborhood in Henderson, Nevada. Nothing's been stolen, nothing really seems off. He even left wrapped Christmas presents in the back seat for his family. A doorbell camera from a house in the neighborhood caught Steven on the day he disappeared. You see him park his car, calmly cross the street, walk down the sidewalk, and then just walk out of frame. And that's it. That's the last confirmed sighting of him. No one knows why he was in that neighborhood. It's not a rough area. It's not near anything he was known to be involved with, and he didn't know anyone who lived there. His phone was pinging towers for a couple days after that, but then it just went dark. Some people think he might have faked his own disappearance, like maybe he was just overwhelmed with everything. He was broke, wanted to start over, but it's been over a decade now, and there's never been a single clue about where he went. His first piece of footage was just captured back in August, and take a look at this thing. Gotta say, whatever this tiny creature is, it does really look kind of fairy-like. Comes from a home security camera in British Columbia, Canada, owned by a man named Steve McBeath. He wasn't hunting for mythical creatures, of course. His cameras are there to catch burglars or raccoons, but one night the camera captured something unlike anything he'd ever seen before. Outside of storybooks, that is. The camera is pretty straightforward. Whenever it detects motion, Steve gets a notification on his phone, and it will tell him if it's an animal or a person. Most of the time, it's nothing all that interesting. All sorts of critters are constantly moving past it, he said, explaining he'd seen cats, dogs, raccoons, and deer go by on a regular basis. There had been a few serious moments though. Steve says the camera once caught someone trying to open his car and pull on the handle of his back door. So when his phone buzzed one night with a familiar alert, his stomach dropped. It said it saw a person, Steve said, but it was not a person. When he pulled up the footage, he saw this bright glowing shape cross the frame, and suddenly turn upward and fly straight toward the camera. It was unlike anything I'd ever seen before. It was bizarre. It looked kinda humanoid, he said. Steve described it as being very eerily lit, with a shimmering silver color. Watching it back, it's easy to see why people immediately started calling it a fairy. Steve eventually chalked it up to something mundane, probably an insect, but he posted the clip online thinking people would get a kick out of it, and well, here we are, so he was right. A lot of people said it reminded them of Tinkerbell from Peter Pan, but the most heartwarming part of this story is the joy Steve took in showing his grandchildren the clip for the first time. And he went on to say, just look for things that are unusual. You never know where something like this is going to pop up and be a bit of fun. And this is a fun video too. It comes from a man named Erwin Saunders in Britain. Saunders actively goes out into nature looking for fairies and elves, and he carries a camera with him every time. In the video, Erwin heads deep into the forest and just films. For the first few minutes, it's pretty quiet, but then he spots something. He points the camera toward a rocky area ahead of him and keeps filming. A little later, he says there's something watching him from above the rocks, and carefully adjusts the camera again. Watch carefully and you'll see this little head poking out. But after a few moments, we see this. A small creature pops out from behind the rocks. It's only out for a few seconds, but we see it long enough to know it's not a normal animal, but it peeks the way an animal does when it's curious but shy. It's adorable. I just can't say how badly I want this to be real. This next video went viral in the early days of YouTube. The uploader was filming his kids who were visiting friends. Most of the video is just the kids showing dad around the yard, talking about where they play, talking about all the animals that live in certain spots. Then they reach an apple tree, and one of the kids spots a strange insect. As dad gets closer with the camera, he spots it. At first, it looks like a dragonfly, but it quickly becomes clear it isn't. Now, keep in mind this video was uploaded in 2008, well before your average person could just have an AI spit something like this out, so it's a well done video. I'm not sure exactly where this video comes from originally, but based on the camera quality, it looks to be from the early days of YouTube. Some kids are messing around with a soccer ball, trying to balance it on their feet, and then this happens. I don't know if you caught that, so here it is slowed down a bit. So this small creature makes its way across the floor. It's hard to make out what it is. It could easily be a rat or something, but the title of the video mentions a gnome, and a lot of commenters mentioned it looks like this thing is wearing a small pointy hat. Well, you wanted clear footage of a cryptid, here it is. It's not often we get supposed Sasquatch footage this clear and up close. Usually these videos are shot from a distance and the creature is almost impossible to make out. I know I say this almost every time I show a Bigfoot video, but understand that I sift through a lot of garbage and I just don't bother putting most of these videos on lists like this because these videos aren't meant to put you to sleep. Although if you use them for that, I'm not offended. Close your eyes, go back to bed. Is this video genuine though? I mean, how can I say for sure? I do like it, I'll say that. There's more going on here than a monkey suit from Party City. This thing looks to have some bulk to it. There's color variation in the fur. If it is a hoax, I think it's pretty well done. Well, this is a freaky piece of footage. Not only is there a massive dead cow floating through the water, there's something under it. Gonna guess that something was involved in the death of the cow. I mean, good lord, look at the size of this thing. There's a full-on dinosaur swimming in this river. Of course, this is a croc or a gator. I couldn't actually find where this video was filmed, but the thing is an absolute beast. I know, very insightful of me. Take a look at this strange photo. Picture was snapped on Navajo land between cornfields and Greasewood, Arizona. It's been making the rounds on social media lately. According to the person who shared it, her aunt snapped the picture at the end of a small canyon after hearing weird noises while tending livestock on her property. There's not much more info about it, other than claims that the creature was seen again a few days later. The family chose not to go after it. They figured it was best to just leave it alone. Wise. Apparently stories about creatures like this have been told in the area for generations though. What do you think of this one? Only explanation that I have outside of this being a genuine Sasquatch, of course, is a black bear. There are black bears in Arizona. I'm not sure if they frequent this specific area. If anyone from Arizona can enlighten me in the comments, that would be great. A video from Buenos Aires this week has gotten people talking about possible demons or something strange. Very strange. This short blurry clip that's been getting shared around quite a bit on social media, at least on the forums I check out, shows what looks like a street or garden in Argentina. Here we can see some sort of bizarre dark figure crawling on all fours toward the camera while a few dogs walk around in the background. The creature seems to have very long spindly limbs, but it's hard to see clearly because it's dark and the video quality isn't really the best. Local news says this happened in the town of Saladillo, and people living there are reportedly scared of whatever it was. Some witnesses have called it demonic and say it has inhuman agility that lets it climb walls and jump between trees. A local firefighter who didn't want to give his name said that, quote, something was going on. Another witness added, he's something big. He doesn't walk on all fours, he walks backwards. He's disjointed, he comes apart, his head is upside down while his body moves in an impossible way. All of that said in Spanish. Of course, this series of photos were posted to Reddit a couple weeks back by SnakeTree1911, who wrote, I work as a land steward in the northeastern part of the US. Part of my job is reviewing images taken by our game cams. We recently pulled a cam from a fairly remote area, which hasn't been checked in a long time. These images caught my eye. None of the naturalists on our staff could ID this thing. I'm not sure if I believe in cryptids or whatever, but I don't know what this thing is. It's not a deer, it certainly isn't a bobcat, and if it's a black bear, it's the biggest one I've ever seen. I included a daytime photo so you can see that it's not just some weird shaped rock or whatever. I don't know, let me know what you think. And I will pose that same question to all you fine people watching. What do you think? If you heard a voice calling to you from another room, only it sounded just like you, what would you do? This clip was posted to TikTok by Andy Winehouse, and I don't even care if this is staged, it just gives me the goosebumps. Just the idea of hearing your own voice calling to you from the next room, it sends a shiver up my spine. The uploader also wrote in the comments, for extra clarification, I thought it was the TV or my wife watching one of my TikToks at first. I called her immediately when I realized it wasn't her in the other room. I waited about 3 minutes and the voice stopped, but footsteps continued for about 12 more minutes. In Plattsmouth, Nebraska, there's a place called the Museum of Shadows. A lot of creepy things are said to go on here, but this video actually showed up on Fox News. So in the early morning hours of February 2nd, 2018, museum owner Nate Ratterman checked the cameras and spotted something straight out of a ghost movie. Inside one of the museum rooms, a small ball, what paranormal folks call a trigger object, starts moving. Of course, there was no one else in the room at the time. The ball doesn't just do a lame little, roll either. It lifts off the ground like it's being picked up by some unseen hand, and then it gets chucked across the room. You'll notice at one point it's sitting on the floor and then bounces into the air. It's not being thrown from off camera or something. The museum sits in a building from 1881 that used to be a saloon, with a brothel upstairs where a number of people reportedly died. This next video comes out of a hospital in Mexico. Here we see a doctor being filmed with what has to be a mid-2000s flip phone. Just gotta love that early YouTube 240p quality. Suddenly though, something weird happens in the background. Watch the double doors behind the doctor. You can clearly see a dark figure pass by. It's not a light trick, it's not a camera glitch. Something clearly moves behind those doors. Well, alright, so no big deal. It's doors leading to a room someone just walked by. Well, the camera operator reacts. He clearly wasn't expecting anyone to be back there. So he walks over and opens the door to check things out. And inside we see, well, nothing. At least no living person. It's just this empty room with medical equipment, and one piece of gear is slowly rolling, like something just brushed past it. And if you look closely back at the shadowy figure and how it moves past the door again, it almost looks like it doesn't walk, it kinda glides. You don't get that up and down motion when a normal person walks, it's just fast and silent. Reddit user Baroness von Schrader posted a couple of photographs taken at their aunt's wedding in 1966, and one of them looks very off. The first picture is normal, just a happy bride and groom. The second picture looks normal at first glance, but look at it for more than a couple seconds, and there's clearly something off about this image. Just what is that ghostly looking figure in between them? Clearly the uploader didn't know who it was, because they took the time to post these images. Well, the Redditor also attached one more image, a photo of their aunt's grandmother, who'd been dead long before the wedding photos were taken. What do you all think? Did the bride's long dead grandmother make a visit from beyond the grave? This final clip comes from Reddit user Stuart James Author, who'd been carrying out a paranormal investigation at Oxford Castle. He hadn't noticed anything odd while filming, but when he reviewed the footage later, he noticed a couple very unsettling things. First, while passing by a window, he spotted what really looks a lot like a ghostly face peering in at him. Take a look. So, did you spot that? Here it is zoomed in. This next one is kinda hard to make out, but as he turned a corner leading into a dark hallway, he spotted what looked like a humanoid figure leaning up against a wall. He said he hadn't seen it when he was filming initially. And this next one is pretty similar. Just like the last video, it comes out of Mexico. We see a young girl possibly celebrating her birthday. As she goes to walk into the next room, she sees something and immediately starts to scream. Again, there's this small, gnomish looking creature walking across the floor. You can easily say it was, some kind of rodent if it weren't for the pointy pink hat it was wearing. But I don't know, maybe it's just a rat carrying a party hat. This one happened in Chester, England, a quiet little city near the border with Wales. Lucia Cardaro, a 37-year-old songwriter and mom, was just getting into bed after 11 p.m. when she heard a motorbike revving on the corner outside. And then came a sudden thump on her living room window. She thought someone had thrown something at it. She checked her CCTV footage, and that's when she saw it. This tiny winged figure flitting past the camera. According to Cardaro, quote, "When I looked on the camera, I thought, that's a bit odd. If that's a butterfly, it looks a lot like a fairy, but I mean, what are the chances? It's very strange. I was rewinding and rewinding and rewinding, but the more I saw it, the more I was convinced. When I showed my 4-year-old son, he said, 'Wow, do you think it's going to go back to Father Christmas and tell him I'm a good boy?' There was no doubt in his mind." These images have been floating around online forever. They show what looks like a tiny fairy corpse laid out on a forensics table, complete with wings, teeth, skin, and hair. It's most amazing top 10. We had to add a dead one on this list. It can't all be whimsical. Anyway, supposedly it is a mummified fairy. When the image first hit the web in 2007, people lost their minds. It all started with a dramatic press release titled, "Do Fairies Live at the Bottom of Your Garden?" According to the story, an anonymous man was walking his dog along an old road in the Derbyshire countryside in England. His dog started barking and refusing to go near an Iron Age burial mound. The man said, quote, "He was barking in the direction of the barrow and would not go anywhere near it, which was strange as we walked past it almost every day. So curious, he approached the mound and noticed this fresh crack in the ground. When he leaned in and shined a small LED torch inside, he claimed he saw something. I could see a human-like form, only this was much smaller," he said. His first thought was that, well, it might be a child's body, until he realized it was too small and, more importantly, it had what appeared to be wings. He carefully pulled it out using a stick and placed it in a dog waste bag. And then he called for his wife. When she arrived, she later recalled seeing a, quote, "tiny but perfect mummified human body with hair, dark brown skin, and most disturbingly, wings." Even stranger, they claimed there were more bodies still inside the mound, possibly over 20. The remains were said to have been examined, photographed, x-rayed, and investigated. People were going nuts online, of course. They were skeptical, sure, but even just the slim possibility that these were the remains of an actual creature, it had people pretty excited. But 1 week later, the creator came clean. In a follow-up statement, he said, "Alas, the fairy is fake. As well as an artist I am, also a magician, and you have been my fantastic audience." But for this brief little window, people believed, and that's kind of fun. And we're gonna have to talk about the most famous fairy caught on camera story in history, the Cottingley fairies. So way back in 1917, in a quiet village in England called Cottingley, two cousins, Elsie Wright, who was 16, and Frances Griffiths, who was just 9, would disappear for hours playing by a little stream behind Elsie's house. Whenever they came back all muddy, they'd say the same thing every time. They were out watching fairies. Eventually, the adults got tired of hearing it, so one day the girls grabbed Elsie's dad's camera and went back to the stream. When the photos were developed, everyone's jaw dropped. The first pictures showed Frances sitting by the water, surrounded by tiny, dancing, winged figures. A second photo showed Elsie posing with a small, gnome-looking creature stood nearby. Elsie's father immediately called it nonsense. He assumed the girls had pulled some kind of prank, but Elsie's mother believed them. The pictures eventually landed in the hands of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the guy who created Sherlock Holmes. Instead of debunking them, he went all in. In 1920, Doyle published the photos in the Strand magazine, presenting them as real evidence that fairies existed. This caused a huge split. Some people were fascinated and fully believed it. Others were just furious that anyone could take it seriously. But photographic experts at the time were saying that the images had not been tampered with. The truth didn't come out until the early 80s. More than 60 years later, both women finally admitted that the photos were faked. The fairies were cardboard cutouts copied from a popular children's book, carefully placed in the scene. They held them upright with hat pins. For a while, though, even with skeptics, I'm sure there was always this tiny bit of, maybe not doubt, but hope that these images were real. It captured people's imagination for decades. Did a fisherman just capture footage of the real-life gill man? Apparently, a guy was fishing near Barnegat Bay in eastern New Jersey when he saw something poke its head out of the water. He had no idea what he was looking at. The more he looked at it, the thing just kept rising and rising until the whole upper half of its body was out of the water, and it was clear that this was not your ordinary animal. I mean, yikes. How'd you like to be swimming in the water with this thing? I gotta say, this creature looks pretty convincing. Definitely gives me the ick, but there are a couple fun comments that I wanna mention as well. One person says, "This is BS. If anyone saw that, they'd run, not record for 3 minutes," which, fair enough. I can see where they're coming from there, but someone else responded, "It's called a stare down. The person out of fear and the frog out of confusion. Hence the term scared stiff." Also a good point, but I really just love that they called this thing a frog. And also someone else commented, "This is what happens when people stop eating frog legs." People just love calling this guy a frog. I don't know what frogs you people are looking at, but anyway. This next clip was shared by Sunny Vader on YouTube. The footage was captured by campers in Clearwater County, Alberta. last month. The uploader had been tearing down their camp when they spotted this large, dark figure lurking in the trees nearby. He managed to quietly capture the thing on camera before it made its way back into the woods. They probably thought it was a bear at first, but after zooming in on the thing with the camera, they probably immediately changed their mind. It seems to be standing upright. Not that bears can't do that, but they usually won't for very long. It looks to me like this is a massive, hairy ape man spying on a couple hikers in the woods. On March 21st, something strange was spotted floating low over the rooftops in Saladin, Iraq, and yes, there's video of it. So as you can see, this strange object has a very odd shape. It looks like you took a flying saucer and then made it vertical. It almost looks like Boba Fett's Slave One from Star Wars. It also looks like it has these long trailing tendrils like a jellyfish, not like any drone I've ever seen. The object drifted smoothly over the buildings and a local managed to capture it on camera. The clip quickly spread online, just another piece of video to add to the growing list of UFO sightings this year. People who saw it described it as otherworldly and eerily silent. Some think it might be high-tech military equipment, others think this may actually be proof of something not from this world. But what do you all think? Now, stepping away from frogmen, aliens, and Sasquatch for a moment, let's talk about some mysterious jellyfish that were spotted just a few months back. The video shows two types of jellyfish that no one's ever seen before. At least ones that haven't been documented by science. The footage comes from researchers at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA. First up is this one here. A very bizarre looking creature. It's so hard to make sense of. It's just so different from anything we see day to day here on land. Almost looks like it belongs in space. As one of the researchers said while filming the thing though, "I've never seen one of those. Have you?" And then another researcher's like, "Nope." They also captured footage of this smaller jellyfish. NOAA scientists couldn't identify this one either. Both were found during a deep sea dive off the northeastern coast of the US near Newport, Rhode Island. We see so many supposed videos of Bigfoot, but barely ever any dogman videos. Well, that all changes today. This dashcam footage comes out of Bladensboro, North Carolina. A man drove up to his property late at night when he got the fright of his life. Some big, hairy creature had been lurking just outside his home, but his headlights hit it and the thing scuttled off into the trees. Not in the most graceful manner, I must add. This dogman is rather, dainty in its movements, does this kind of like toddler hop as it moves away. It can't be too hard on Dogman though. He's not as used to being in the spotlight, always being outshined by the ever so famous Sasquatch. A Reddit user out in the Midwest has been spotting a strange creature in their neighborhood. First, they posted these images along with a caption reading, "These are photos taken in the Midwest from an iPhone at night. The cryptid in question randomly appears in the same spot. Once a person begins to approach, it will vanish." It was seen again a few weeks ago and moved at an incredible speed across a few backyards. A local dog will bark at the spot that it appears in, even when it's not there. Trail cams will be set up soon. Please give me some ideas as to what it could be. The Redditor also posted an update with a video attached. This time, we can supposedly hear whatever this strange creature is. They wrote in the description, "We've got a video of the cryptid making what sounds like a scream. My friend was trying to find where it was standing but couldn't see it. Once the video ended, it appeared again in his yard but vanished as he went to get his phone again." This video was uploaded to YouTube by Paranormal Planet, who'd been exploring an ice cave in Hallstatt, Austria. Most of the video is just pretty standard touristy type footage of the cave until we get to the end and see whatever this is. That is a pretty freaky looking creature. Now, my first thought was like, I don't know, maybe it's a frog or something, but according to the uploader, this thing was the size of a large man, and they were also standing far enough away that they wouldn't have picked it up in this kind of detail if it was something as small as a frog. So if that's to be believed, then this is a pretty strange piece of footage, and honestly, the more I do look at it, the less frog-like this thing really looks. I mean, frogs don't really articulate like this, and they don't usually chill in ice caves either. And the way it bends its limbs almost looks like how a human would climb, except it's way too long and spindly to be a person. So I don't know what this is. Let me know your thoughts down below. This next video was posted to Facebook by a man named Clay Shiner. He was filming the woods one evening because he spotted something moving just behind the tree line. Turns out it was not a bear. The thing that really struck me about this video is how long this thing's arms are. At first it just looks like, a typical formless black shape hiding in the trees like so many Sasquatch videos you see. But when it steps forward a bit and stretches its arms out to the sides, it's like, damn, those are long, very ape-like, and very creepy. Reddit user Adjacent Gunman posted this image with the caption, "Over a year ago, this picture was taken by a trail cam back on my property. This version has been lightened. It's something holding a dead coyote by the throat, and it stands about 7.5 to 8 feet tall." He also posted an unedited version of the image. He said he based the thing's height off of where its eyes are compared to his cabin. Now, this thing is hard to make out, but there's definitely something there. Could it be a bear standing on its hind legs? Possibly, but the way it's holding its prey, it looks almost humanoid. But I don't know, maybe that's just my wishful thinking. I wholeheartedly want Bigfoot to be real. Uploaded to the YouTube channel Hola Bible in 2011, this video really creeped a lot of people out. The uploader said he'd been hearing some strange sounds coming from the forest behind his home in Oregon. Keep in mind, he lived 6 miles from the nearest city. He went out to investigate with a night vision camera. Well, he didn't get very far before he came across the source of these strange noises. Crouching in some brush was some sort of odd-looking, hairless creature. He zooms into the thing a bit, trying to make out what the hell it is, and then this happens. So it looks like Gollum was lurking around this guy's woods, or an alien, or a rake. It looks like a lot of things, all of them creepy, none of which you'd want skulking around in your backyard. I just hope this dude moved. And finally, I have another piece of Bigfoot footage for you. This video comes out of Russia, and in it, we see some folks filming some woods near their property. They'd spotted something sprinting through the trees, and what they see is pretty shocking. What's really cool about this video is how the thing moves. How many supposed Bigfoot videos do you see where it's just this figure like lumbering through the trees like a dude in a costume, unsure of their footing? You kind of see them trying to keep their balance. Well, that is not the case here. This thing is sprinting at high speed and leaping across the ground as if it's an animal that is very familiar with its environment. That's why this has become such a well-known clip in the Sasquatch community, which no, I'm not a part of, but my interest is still very much there.
We have Raman Manuel. Chicago Mayor Raman Manuel may be a shapeshifter reptile. I'll let you decide. In September 2012, during a press conference, viewers noticed that his eyes seemed to transform into, well, I'm not quite sure I know how to describe this because it's terrifying. Around his eyes, we see darkness of some sort, and suddenly his actual eyes become enlarged. Honestly, whatever happened wasn't human. Did he reveal himself as a shapeshifter reptile? I'm thinking yes. If you're enjoying this video so far, smash that like button as it'll really help us out. In our number 9 spot, we have Timothy Geithner. Former secretary to the treasurer, Timothy Geithner, has been accused of being a shapeshifter. Why? Well, because there's some weird footage of him possibly doing just that. Footage was taken of him at a press conference sitting and listening to the speaker when all of a sudden something starts happening to his right eye. A weird pattern that honestly looks like a pattern that you would see on a butterfly wing starts to form around his eye, sort of cupping it. It seems that it happens for a few seconds before he realizes it and tries to cover it up by touching the area, and in an instant, it's gone. No one can deny that the footage is rather odd, especially as he touches the area and poof, it's magically gone. It is super possible that we have a butterfly shapeshifter on our hands. Imagine. If I could be a shapeshifter, that's what I would want to be. Something with wings. Probably a fairy. That would be great. In our number 8 spot, we have US General David Petraeus. On June 15, 2010, the US General David Petraeus appeared to faint during a conference, but at one point though, his face appeared to be, well, not human. The footage of this one does appear to be a tad blurry, but it does seem like something has happened to his face. His face looks like it's, deformed, and the person that was looking at him and talking before he fainted did look a tad scared, but it could have been because he could see something was wrong. So there's that. But also, at one point, somebody stood up and conveniently blocked the camera from seeing him, so that's sus. But honestly, the footage for this one is too blurry for me to say, yeah, probs are reptiles. But the people that filmed it and shared it definitely said that they saw something that day and it did not look human. In our number 7 spot, we have Lady Gaga. Okay, Lady Gaga is an interesting one because there is a video that seemingly shows something going on with her eyes, but also she literally said on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert that she, quote, has always liked to shapeshift. Very sus, Gaga. The viewers of the show thought that it was a very interesting choice of words, and so many thought that there was a bit of truth to what she said, as if the energy around the word held more weight. I don't know. Certainly there are so many people that believe that Lady Gaga has had contact with the devil, and so it would make sense if she was a shapeshifter. Remember that time she suspended something in the air with her magical force field? Okay, but for real, is she a magical devil-like being or a shapeshifter? Would love to know your vote in the comment section below.
Around 2011, a YouTube channel called Ivan0135 uploaded a set of short clips with no explanation attached. The videos show this gray humanoid figure with a big head and dark eyes, your classic gray. In one clip, it's sitting at a table in what looks like some kind of control room. In another, it's standing and slowly moving around, mostly small head turns and slight shifts in its posture. Everything is black and white and really grainy, like old tape or degraded footage. No one's ever been able to confirm where the videos came from or who actually made them. There's also been a lot of technical breakdown, looking at the grain, the noise, and compression patterns in the footage, and some argue that the grain looks like real camera noise rather than something added on top. Now, real or not, it is pretty eerie stuff, but what do you think? Back in 2022, a man named Harry Hayes was out jogging in Sydney, Australia, after days of heavy rain had flooded parts of the street. He spotted something strange sitting on the road. It was small, fleshy looking. It looked like some kind of embryo. He pulled out his phone and started filming it while trying to figure out what he was looking at. He thought it looked like some kind of embryo, but also joked that with all the crazy stuff going on at the time, the wars, the global pandemic, he wouldn't be surprised if it was some sort of mutated creature or alien. He uploaded the clip to Instagram, where it quickly started spreading and pulling in all kinds of theories. Some people thought it could be a shark embryo washed up during the flooding. Others suggested a mutated tadpole, and some also went straight to the alien angle. Even people with biology backgrounds weren't so sure what it was though. Zoologist Elisa shared the image and wrote, "Hey world, what is this thing? I thought possible glider, possum embryo, but I have no context or scale and none of my peers can agree. What is this? Hashtag mystery blob." Now, this is one of the most infamous, supposedly real alien creature videos on the internet. It was recorded in Denver, Colorado by a man named Stan Romanek in 2003. He said he started noticing something outside his home at night. Someone or something was coming up to the window and looking in. Thinking it might be someone messing around or possible intruder, he set up a camera aimed at the window to catch it. What he ended up capturing was this pale, humanoid-looking figure peering into his window. It rises into view, lingers there for a moment, then drops out of sight. It comes back into frame a couple times. The video was later shown publicly in 2008 at an event organized by UFO researcher Jeff Peckman, where it was presented as possible evidence. And after that, it started spreading online and getting picked apart frame by frame. Romanek has insisted the footage is real, and just one incident that he managed to capture on camera amongst a whole bunch of odd experiences that he had around his home. Out in Dubina, a rural stretch of Fayette County, Texas, Michael Demmel has been running trail cameras on his property for years. They're set up all over the place to catch wildlife moving through at night. Coyotes, bobcats, raccoons, that kind of thing. He checks them every day, and after 10 years of doing it, he knows what normal looks like on those images. Well, one night a photo came through that kind of freaked him out. At first, Michael said he thought it might be a monkey. Already insane to see in the wild in Texas. The picture is blurry, but there is something definitely crouching there, about the size of a medium dog. But the shape is weird. It's super spindly, doesn't appear to have fur either. He showed the image around to his friends, and once it started spreading, people started throwing out ideas. Some said chupacabra, alien, or skinwalker. Michael said, "In the 10 years I've been reviewing my cameras, I've never encountered anything like it." Uploaded back in 2011 to a YouTube channel called Hola Bible, this clip comes from a guy in Oregon who says he started hearing strange noises coming from the forest behind his home. He points out that he's out in a pretty isolated spot, about 6 miles from the nearest city, so hearing stuff moving around there at night isn't exactly normal. Grabs a night vision camera and heads out to check it. First, it's just dark woods and brush, but as he moves deeper in, he eventually spots whatever's making the sound. Crouched down in the vegetation is this pale, hairless-looking figure. It doesn't really move like an animal you'd expect to see out there, and the shape of it is hard to place from the footage. He zooms in to get a closer look, trying to figure out what he's actually looking at. The camera shakes a bit as he focuses on it. The figure is still there in the brush, low to the ground, and then reacts. Scary stuff. What is it though? An alien creature, a rake, a naked man with glowing eyes, a hoax? Share your thoughts down below. Is there any better way to celebrate the Halloween season than by watching videos of witches? From nightmarish entities floating towards people's back doors to witch-like figures dancing alone at 3 a.m. These are more real witches caught on camera. Good luck getting a good night's rest. Well, this is horrifying. The video shows this rusted white van parked outside, and in the background, you can hear this strange noise, almost sounds like an animal whimpering or crying. As the clip goes on, something weird appears in the sky and starts moving toward the van. The person filming this is hiding behind some curtains, rightfully so, trying to get a look at what's happening. And when they finally peek out again, they see a cloaked, witch-like figure standing on top of the car, staring right at the camera with glowing eyes. It starts to move closer, floating down from the car. It almost looks like it's swimming through the air. It's very eerie. And that's when the person filming freaks out and runs away from the window, understandably. Now, this clip has gone viral, with people on social media trying to figure out where it was filmed. Some say it was shot near a crematorium in Bihar, while others claim it's from Beirut, and also near a crematorium. It's a quality video for sure, but what do you all think? Is this one a hoax or a genuine piece of paranormal footage? All I know is it's creepy. So you can all thank me later for this terrifying thing showing up in your dreams tonight. Yeah, you're welcome. Just what in the hell is that thing? Well, there's not a lot of info on this video, but there is a vague internet urban legend behind it. Supposedly, a girl was kidnapped by an elderly woman. The girl ended up showing up again, but was in this state, almost like a living doll, a very creepy living doll. Sounds like something a witch would do to me. Grab a young person, do some spells on them, turn them into whatever this is. Now, whether there's any truth to that story or not, I don't care. It's a creepy video, and I will probably be seeing this thing when I close my eyes in bed tonight, unfortunately. How would you react if you saw this peeking out of your attic? Yeah, I wouldn't feel all that good about it myself, so a lot of people have said they think this video could be faked, but there is actually a real news story behind it. This happened in Poland on New Year's Eve in 2022. Police were called to a home in a small village. A woman named Kamilka had barricaded herself in the attic, making odd animalistic growling noises. Some say she'd been messing with a Ouija board before she started acting all strange, and then her family got concerned and phoned the police. And when authorities got there, they found her in a small crawl space or attic space. She was refusing to cooperate with police. In fact, she wasn't really saying anything. She was just growling at them. It's an unsettling video for sure, especially with context. And some of these growling noises really do sound like something out of The Exorcist. Take a listen. And just for warning, if you're epileptic, you may want to look away for this next bit. Hey, there's nothing wrong with a late night dance, nothing wrong with dancing alone, but would it be slightly unsettling to see this at 3 a.m. in the morning? Well, yes, it would be unsettling, and it was for the dude who captured this footage. He'd been making a late night delivery at an apartment complex when he spotted this person dancing alone. Now, there's a lot that could be going on here. She looks like she might be elderly, who knows what kind of mental state she's in, but I'm sorry, it's still eerie. The witch-like silhouette, the strangeness of the movements, she's got really big hands. The fact that it was 3 a.m. in the morning, yeah, it's freaky. I mean, even seeing an average-looking person dancing alone in the middle of the night in a hypnotic trance would be creepy. So this just takes it up a notch. Once again, thank me for the nightmares later. Take a look at this. Ah yes, a face only a mother could love. If Mama were a demonic witch lady who brewed her offspring in a cauldron in the woods. Just what in the seven hells spawned this horrific creature? Here's this demon girl telling the camera person to shut up, by the way, later in the video. So, word to the wise here, I don't know if you need me to tell you this, but if something like that is screaming in your face telling you to shut up, just zip your mouth and then just slowly start backing away and hope she doesn't follow you. Ever had a wonderful, restless night of sleep paralysis and then woke up in the morning wondering if some sort of dark entity really was in bed with you the previous night? We've all been there, right? There are said to be lots of different sleep paralysis demons, the most famous, or rather infamous, being the old hag. Cultures around the world have stories about ghostly old hags sitting on sleepers' chests, restricting them from moving, haunting their semi-waking nightmares, very witch-like entities. Well, this person may have captured one of these sleep paralysis demons on camera. Take a look. So that ghostly looking thing sitting up in bed is not the person sleeping, at least according to the uploader. Supposedly, a woman had been living in her home for a few years and had been having issues with sleep apnea and sleep paralysis. Someone suggested she put up a security camera in her room, and she did. This is what she captured. I also hope she went to a doctor and they gave her some, medication or something. You don't want to ignore sleep apnea, guys. It's not a good thing. It'll affect you throughout your life.
In our number 5 spot today, we have the creepy creature. I'll be honest, this video is similar to the last one, but possibly more terrifying. This video gives us a better glimpse at a very similar looking creature that is in the same position as the last TikTok witch. People in the comments are honestly really debated over what this creature could be. Some are of course saying a witch, many people believe it might be a skinwalker, and some are even saying that it is an evil spirit from Islamic folklore. A skinwalker in certain indigenous American cultures is defined, quote, as a type of harmful witch who has the ability to turn into, possess, or disguise themselves as an animal. The term is never used for healers. As for the evil spirit, it is said that they go around, quote, inciting humans to sin by whispering in their hearts. According to Islamic tradition, though invisible to humans, they are imagined to be ugly and grotesque creatures created from hellfire. So now I have to ask that you've seen these 2 videos, what do you think this really is? In our number 4 spot today, I have the creature in the sky. This video was posted to TikTok with the caption, quote, I am honestly really creeped out by this footage that I got from yesterday, and it features the hashtags witch, alien, and demon, which, yeah, I think those definitely are all possibilities when it comes to this footage. In the video, we see something flying through the sky that honestly looks like it could be the concept art for the alien in the movie Nope. This thing is like a jellyfish dementor floating through the sky. What could this thing really be? This is definitely one of the stranger videos that I have ever seen, and at the end of the video, after saying that they still, to this day, have no idea what that thing is, the creator asks, "What do you think it is?" In our number 3 spot today, we have the fireball in the sky. A Seconia, or a Lugaroo, is a vampire witch from Caribbean folklore. She is said to live as an elderly woman during the day, but at night she sheds her skin and transforms into a fireball. In this form, she flies through the air and slips into the homes of sleeping people to feed on their blood. Some believe that this creature, in her fireball form, was caught on camera in this video. During the video, you can see quite a large fireball floating in the sky. You can see the flames moving as the person recording the video zooms in and out to give us as much of a view as possible. It isn't exactly known where this video was taken, but what is clear is that it caught something that seems almost unexplainable. Do you believe that this could be a witch, or is there another, more scientific explanation? In our number 2 spot today, we have the structure in the forest. This is a video that is definitely giving Blair Witch vibes. It starts off with a man walking through a forest in Massachusetts, and he starts recording when he sees something strange. As he is walking, he sees some strange small structures made out of sticks and branches. As he gets closer and begins filming the structures and inspecting them more, he realizes that he in fact has stumbled upon a creepy hut built by someone or something. I've watched enough horror movies to know that this means it's time to get the hell out of there, because you definitely don't want to meet the thing that built this creepy hut of sticks in the forest. Actually, I probably wouldn't even be in the forest in the first place, but this man is clearly braver than I, and now he has to face the music. While this video is already creepy enough, what's great is that the creepiest thing hasn't even happened yet. Suddenly, what definitely appears to be a witch starts running through the woods, almost like she was startled and ran away while trying not to be seen. The man who recorded the video said that she was also carrying a stick with her. I don't know if that's important, but that feels very witchy to just have a stick on the go. And finally, in our number 1 spot today, we have The Ritual. As drones get increasingly popular, so do the strange things they capture, and this drone footage is no exception. As the pilot flew this drone through a field, he encountered something that I don't think anyone was expecting. The video footage captures 3 men in a field, all wearing cloaks and masks, and they appear to be doing some kind of ritual. They also appear to be holding some kind of object, possibly a book. Shout out to the drone operator, because like a good cameraman, he goes in closer to try and get a better look at what exactly is going on here. As he gets closer, the men begin holding hands and bowing to each other, and something weird is definitely going on here. Am I being punked, or is this real? In the end, the men end up noticing the drone, which takes them out of whatever they were doing. Once the men notice the camera, one of them reaches his hand up toward it, and at this point, the pilot said that he lost control of the drone, which is a very strange coincidence. Or is it magic? The forest encounter. Being in the woods at night is never not scary. Even if you're an experienced outdoors person, there is just something unsettling about the secrets the woods like to hold. This video is absolutely no exception to that. This video was taken back in 2006 in the Catalonian forest, where 2 men and their families were on a camping trip. I'm not entirely sure what led up to the men taking this video or why they were walking around the forest at night, but regardless of how they got into this position, what happened next is something I'm sure they will never forget. As they walk deeper into this forest, something catches their attention. They see what looks like a mysterious creature on top of a tree branch. As they see the creature, they obviously stop walking and are filming it, scared for what it might be. The forest is of course full of dangerous animals, so it's always good to proceed with caution, but I'm sure these men had no idea just how scary this creature was about to become. As the light from the recorder shines on the creature and the men try to get a closer look, the creature turns its face to look directly at them. The creature's eyes glow in the light with a human-looking head but an inhuman feeling aura. The men quickly book it out of there, and I have to say, I would do exactly the same thing. After experiencing something like that, I don't think you could ever catch me in the woods again. In our number 9 spot today, we have the Skinwalker in the Woods. This creepy video was posted to TikTok by the user Adrian Montenegro 02, and it was supposed to be just a casual video showing a camping trip with their family that they were taking near Monterrey in Mexico. It should just be a nice casual fun time, fun family trip, right? Wrong. Of course not. This video shows the family all hanging out together with one member being pushed on a swing by a couple other members. This is all fine and well, but it's what's in the background that really has viewers concerned and definitely had the family freaking out when they reviewed the footage. In the back, you see a creepy figure moving around. This figure is pale and human looking, and it just moves around quietly like it's trying not to be seen. Is it hiding from the family? Is it planning something sinister? After posting, many viewers began putting forth their theories. Some believe the figure seen in the back is a skinwalker, while others believe it is someone who lives in the woods waiting for their moment to strike. At the end of the day, whatever this thing is, it is sure unsettling, and all I can ask is, why is it watching this family's vacation? In our number 8 spot today, we have Bigfoot? Would this list truly be complete without the sighting of a supposed Bigfoot? This video comes from 2015 when a man named McCamey reported seeing a strange, unexplainable creature hiding in the woods. McCamey was kayaking in a swamp close to Tampa in Florida when he heard a noise, and then he began to see some strange movement. He started recording what he thought was likely a bear or a similar kind of animal, but as he got closer he realized that something more unusual was going on. The creature began to navigate through the alligator-infested water with ease, and it began using its arms to swing through the branches, which is something that isn't really commonly seen with bears, as far as I know. Some people believe this video is a hoax, while others believe this is full-blown proof that Bigfoot is alive and well and living in Florida. What do you think? In our number 7 spot today, we have a cult meeting. This next video comes from a group of friends who were on a casual hike, enjoying themselves, getting some fresh air and exercise, but little did they know they were about to stumble upon something a lot more sinister than a typical day outdoors. As they are hiking on the trail and up a hill, they look back and see some kind of weird secret cult or secret society type meeting. These people begin walking, dressed in white robes, and while that obviously isn't any kind of a crime, it's bizarre, to say the least. The person who took the video also posted another video of this strange encounter because these people didn't just look creepy, they were also making creepy sounds. I can't tell if the sound is music, singing, chanting, screaming, I'm not entirely sure, but whatever it is, it was all creepy enough for these guys to stop their hike, record, and post it on the internet for all of us to watch and wonder, what exactly is going on here?
June 5th, 1989, Beijing. Pro-democracy protests have just been crushed in Tiananmen Square. The streets are tense, and the Chinese military is moving tanks through the city. And then, out of nowhere, a single man walks into the road. He's wearing a white shirt, dark pants, and he's carrying what looks like shopping bags. But he isn't just crossing the street, he stands directly in front of the tanks, stopping them in their tracks. The lead tank tries to go around him, but he moves with it, blocking it. At one point, he even climbs onto the tank, gesturing at the soldiers inside. Nobody knows what he said, or even if he said anything at all. It's all captured on camera, and the footage went around the world almost instantly. But for how famous the image of this man standing in front of these tanks quickly became, we still don't know who he was. Tank Man's identity has never been confirmed, and his fate after that day is a mystery. Some say he was arrested immediately, others think he got away. In March 2025, something weird showed up on a Ring doorbell camera in North Yorkboro, Pennsylvania. A person wearing a homemade mask. It looked like a paper plate with a creepy face and colorful petals taped around it. The person walked up to someone's front door in the early morning hours. He set down a cardboard box, then leaned in close to the camera and said, "I am the box demon. This box is a gift for you." The box turned out to be empty. Police shared the footage and encouraged anyone with info to help figure out who the masked visitor was. Then just about a day later, authorities announced they'd identified and spoken to the person behind the box demon, but they didn't release their name or explain their motives to the public. So as for who this person is, we don't know. This image was captured at Chester Castle in England. Nobody knows who or what this figure is. A security guard at Chester Castle got a call from the control room saying that cameras had spotted unusual movement. Normally fearless, his dog, which the security guard described as, quote, the size of a small bear, refused to leave the car, whimpering nervously. When the guard went to investigate, he said he felt 100 eyes on him and felt genuinely terrified. But when he looked around, there was no one, and no signs of anyone entering or leaving the castle grounds. Cameras, however, told a different story. They recorded this strange, faceless figure walking across the area in front of the main gates. It was clearly visible on the footage, moving in a way that no one could explain, and yet no one was physically there when the guard arrived. Staff across English heritage sites have been reporting unusual things for years, from a disembodied hand at Belsley Hall to eerie piano music in the walls of Bolsover Castle, and ghostly figures disappearing into the woods around Rest Park. Louise Fountain, a property manager at Bolsover, said they even keep a ghost book so that staff and visitors can record sightings, sometimes even drawing what they saw. She described cases where visitors felt a child's hand holding theirs, or heard sounds of a bouncing ball long after anyone had left. On November 22nd, 1963, crowds were lining the streets of Dallas, Texas, watching the president's car roll by. Cameras were clicking everywhere, people were filming. In the middle of it all, one woman appeared in photos and footage later nicknamed the Babushka Lady. She wore a headscarf and was standing in a spot where she would have seen everything that happened. She seemed to be holding a camera herself. That means she might have captured one of the clearest angles of the whole thing. The problem, nobody knows who she was. So any photos she took have never been found. The FBI even put out calls for her to come forward, but she never did. Some people think she was just an ordinary bystander. Others wonder if she had a reason for keeping quiet. I mean, it's possible that if anyone wanted certain details hidden, they wouldn't have wanted her images getting out. Whatever the truth, the Babushka Lady remains one of the most mysterious unanswered pieces of that day. This footage doesn't look all that strange. Security footage outside someone's home capturing a woman trudging through the grass. If you didn't know any better, you'd think she lived there, but she doesn't. And the homeowner has no idea who she is or how she got there. The clip comes from Reddit user ConorBon3R, who writes, "Last night, our security cameras captured a random stranger wandering through our yard. We live up in the mountains, miles away from the nearest town, surrounded by forested mountains with no neighbors nearby. It was pitch black, and the person wasn't dressed for bushwhacking, especially not in the dark. It's seriously the middle of nowhere, and we never see anyone around here." Two parents thought they might have spotted their missing daughter, Lori, 4 years after she disappeared. In 1980, while staying in California, they were watching a documentary and noticed an extra in the film who looked just like her. They tried reaching out to the filmmakers, but they couldn't track her down. The next year, the filmmaker released another documentary called Whatever Happened to Lori Jean Lloyd to raise awareness about the case, but it didn't turn up any new leads. Lori was a teenager in Kettering, Ohio, when she vanished on February 11th, 1976. That evening, she'd been babysitting her nephew with a friend. Her mother dropped off a pizza, Lori thanked her, and everything seemed fine. Later that night, Anita returned and realized that Lori was gone. The friend and nephew were asleep, and when the friend woke up, she said Lori had left to walk 3 blocks to a convenience store to buy cigarettes. The employees at the shop never saw her that night, though. Her mother searched the area, but she couldn't find her. Police didn't immediately take the case seriously because Lori had a history of running away, but her family knew that this was different. She always called to check in, and she usually stayed with friends. This time she hadn't. Some friends said Lori had mentioned wanting to move to California with her father and had planned to meet a boy that night who might help her get there. If he existed, no one ever identified him. Lori left behind all her personal belongings, including a small bank account, untouched. For years, her disappearance remained a total mystery. But in 2016, she was tentatively identified as a Jane Doe, found in Grant County, Kentucky, based on dental records. While law enforcement hasn't officially confirmed it, her family did accept that the remains were hers. The Appalachian Mountains, they have so many creepy legends and stories associated with them. Well, in this video, which was recorded somewhere in those mountains, a guy is sitting in his car in the middle of the night, but he's not alone. Something is lurking around his vehicle. You hear this low, animalistic grunting, circling the car. It's right outside. And then we see it. Something pokes its head up and peeks into the window, which would have been rolled up immediately if I were in this situation, but I guess the guy just wanted some cool footage of what he thought was a mountain lion or something. The shape isn't totally clear, but it's close enough that you can tell it's not small. It lingers for a second, then pulls back out of sight. Before long, though, we get an even better look. The bright yellow eyes do scream mountain lion, but a lot of commenters have pointed out that the movement seems off, and you'd expect eye reflection at this angle, but I don't know. What do you think? Mountain lion or, I don't know, cat person? Share your thoughts in the comments. A hairless, pointy-eared creature galloping through the desert smells like a chupacabra to me. What you're looking at here is one of the most well-known pieces of cryptid footage tied to the chupa. The video was filmed on August 8th, 2008 by a police officer named Brandon Rydell in DeWitt County, Texas. He was on patrol when he spotted something strange running along the road. At first glance, it looks similar to a coyote, but there are details that stand out right away. The body appears mostly hairless. The ears are large and upright, and the snout looks longer and more narrow. That snout in particular is what's caused the most confusion, and the way it moves also feels slightly off. The forelegs are slightly shorter than the hind legs, which is often how the chupacabra is described. After the footage got out, people started linking it to the chupacabra legend, a creature often blamed for slaughtering livestock, draining them of their BLOD. This is one of the main videos people point to when that creature comes up, and for good reason. It's clear footage, you get a long look at the animal. Could it be a coyote with mange or something similar? Maybe, but the creature in this footage was never found, so it's hard to say for sure. This next video comes out of a small village in the Philippines, where back in April of 2024, a trail camera had been set up facing a river. Why had the camera been placed there? Well, supposedly locals have been whispering about eerie sightings nearby at night. Some were saying that dark spirits were lurking in the water, and if this footage is believed to be real, it seems there was some truth to those stories. Because poking out of the water are these ghoulish creatures. It's hard to make out the faces, because they're mostly submerged in the water, but we do see glowing eyes and what looks like long matted hair. They're incredibly creepy. They look like a cross between the ghost girl from Ringu and the creatures from Chud. Now, the story goes a number of people had gone out late at night by the river and never made it home. Are there rational explanations for those disappearances? Definitely, but is there also a chance that whatever these things are and in the water have something to do with it? Possibly. I'll let you be the judge. This is some of the most infamous internet-era cryptid footage ever captured. 2007, a man named Jose in Fresno, California, set up a security camera outside his house because his dogs kept barking at night. Were clearly disturbed by something in the yard. Well, what he caught on that camera is what people now call the Fresno Nightcrawler footage. The clip's pretty short, but you can see everything clearly. It's this small white figure walking across the yard. It doesn't have visible arms. There's no clear upper body or body at all. It's just kind of just looks like two long legs moving with a slow, steady gait. Now, of course, Jose had no idea what he was looking at. He tried to rationalize it, but couldn't land on a satisfying explanation, so he brought the footage to a local news station. That's how the video got out, and from there, it spread online. The version most people have seen is a recording of the original footage playing on a screen, which is why it looks slightly washed out. Jose never got an answer though. Nobody had a rational explanation for the footage aside from it being a hoax. But then in 2011, another clip showed up from Yosemite National Park. Different place, same kind of figure, or in this case, figures. There were two of them this time. White, leg-like shape, moving in that same slow, deliberate walk. The surveillance camera ghoul. This footage was taken by a man named Mario Lara, who captured something deeply harrowing on camera in his store in Mexico. Take a look. Leading up to this video, Lara had begun to notice strange things going on in his store. He'd arrive in the morning to find things out of place, especially a piñata, which would repeatedly be found on the floor, and one morning it was found in a totally different spot than he'd left it the previous night. He started to think someone was sneaking into the shop after closing and messing with things, so he set up a security camera. One night he gets an alert on his phone. The camera was detecting motion. The last thing he was expecting to see though was this ghoulish figure poking out from a pile of piñatas. It's hard to make that sentence sound ominous. I mean, piñatas, they're just so joyous. Well, unfortunately for Mario though, things weren't joyous in the shop. Things just continued getting worse. His security camera continued picking up odd footage at night, like pinatas spinning around on their own. One of his power drills, which was sitting on the floor, seemingly turned on by itself one day, nearly hitting his foot. It seemed like whatever this entity was, it was not looking to be friendly, despite being surrounded by festive pinatas. This next video comes from a woman named Mandy Mary, who spotted something incredibly creepy on camera. Take a look at this. Did you catch that? It happens very fast, but as the lights flicker, you can spot what looks to be this shadowy figure peering out from the doorway, and it's definitely not there when the lights are on. Now, why did the lights flicker? Well, Mandy's son had flicked them himself. Mandy wrote in the description of the video, "This video is from my back house. My son was behind me when I recorded this. We were creeped out as we've seen a dark figure back there many times. So thought it would be a good idea to record there at night. We videotaped and he tried to spook me by flicking the light. The moment he turned off the light, you could see the outside light from the window. Within this outside light, you can see a dark shadow figure standing there. This wasn't us. Some of the people I've shown this to said, it's your son. I said, no way. He was right behind me, and that shadow figure was in the middle of the window, reflection, not the door we were at. So no way it was him. Every night I see dark shadows walking back and forth, making my backlight sensor flip on and off. Also, about a month ago, something shook my door so hard it shook my entire hallway. Speaking of hallways, this next person was attacked on camera by what appears to be some invisible force in the hallway. Take a look. Yeah, damn right, turn around and go back where you came. Whoever this guy was visiting, whatever plans he had at the end of that hallway, they were crossed off his list as soon as he hit the ground. What in the hell happened there? This CCTV security camera footage was taken in what looks to be the hallway of some sort of facility, like a doctor's office. Could also be an apartment, but it's hard to tell. You'll notice that before the guy even falls down and gets dragged, this black shadowy shape starts to form, and once it drags the guy a few feet down the hall, it fades back away, releasing the man who rightly gets up and books it back down the hall. This next one has to be one of my favorite spooky internet videos. Some have compared this creepy woman to a witch, others have said it may be a djinn. Whatever she is though, she's downright creepy, and this just makes for a very unsettling watch. The video was apparently shot in Saudi Arabia. It shows a man driving on a narrow, empty road. As he's driving, we can clearly spot this strange, hunched figure in the distance. The figure moves in this really unnatural way, hobbling around. It's also hard to make out where its head is because it's all hunched. It just looks completely wrong. And the man filming thinks so too, because you can clearly hear how terrified he is. He sounds completely panicked, even on the verge of tears. Honestly, his reaction is kind of what makes the video. At one point he tries to reverse away from the figure, but the road is so narrow and winding that he can't move very quickly, and the witch-like figure just keeps gaining on him, waddling towards the car with that unsettling gait, getting closer and closer, but never deciding to get right up close. It's like she's just toying with him. Unless you've been hiding under a rock for the past couple years, which based on some of the videos on this list, I can understand why you would, you've probably heard of the Serbian dancing lady craze. People coming across lone women dancing in the street late at night for seemingly no reason. Take a look at this. Sorry, not sorry. That one gets you? Look, it's spooky season now. You gotta be ready for this sort of thing. Gotta be on your toes. All right, well, I don't think it gets any more classically demonic looking than this image here. The photo shows a large winged figure. It was taken in Phoenix, Arizona by a man named Richard Christensen in 2017. He wasn't sure what he captured, and neither was anyone else. Some people think it looks like a Mothman, others think it might look like an angel, or, of course, the opposite. But, like everything on this list, what do you think? Let us know down below. In Lytham, England, late at night on July 18th, 2025, something really strange showed up on a dash cam. It was a nude guy, wearing nothing but a black mask and sneakers, just walking through the quiet streets. The footage ended up on a local WhatsApp group and then Facebook, and people couldn't stop talking about it. One local said, "It's a GIMP mask. I've watched the footage. I have no idea what he thinks he's doing." Another added, "In the days after we saw a young man fully clothed walking around the streets, looking up and around, seemingly checking for cameras, we think it's the same man. Lancashire police confirmed that they were reviewing the footage and checking the area, saying, "We are aware of a concerning video circulating on social media of a naked male wearing a face covering walking around Lytham in the early hours of the morning. This incident was not initially reported to police and has only been brought to our attention after it has been viewed on Facebook." What you're looking at here is security footage from Creekside Church of Christ in Midlothian, Texas, and the person in it has never been identified. On April 18, 2016, 45-year-old fitness instructor Missy Bevers was found dead inside this church. She'd arrived early around 4 a.m. to set up for one of her classes, and by 5 a.m. a student discovered her body. She'd been attacked with multiple puncture wounds to the head and chest, and a hammer was found nearby. The surveillance video taken just before the attack shows someone dressed head to toe in SWAT-style tactical gear calmly walking through the building. They open doors, they smash windows, and they move with a noticeable limp or kind of awkward gait, like they might be dragging a leg. Police haven't confirmed if the intruder was male or female. Missy's iPad or personal belongings were all untouched though, so this person wasn't there for valuables. There was one suspicious vehicle, a 2010 to maybe 2012 Nissan Altima, seen circling the parking lot at 2 a.m. with headlights flashing, but that driver was never identified. Missy had also gotten some strange messages on LinkedIn from a man before her death. To this day, despite all the footage, the hammer, the tactical gear, and the eerie limp, no one knows who this person was. No one knows who killed Missy Bevers or why. Now, we've talked about this one recently, but it does fit too perfectly into this list to skip. In June 2009, a man using the name Peter Bergman checked into a small hotel in Sligo, Ireland. From the very start, his behavior was strange. Almost all of it was caught on CCTV around the city. Over several days, cameras followed him walking calmly through town, always wearing the same black outfit, carrying a purple plastic bag. He stopped at random locations, pulled items out of the bag, and carefully tossed them into public trash bins. When the man was later found, he had no ID, no labeled clothes, and no traceable documents of any kind. The name Peter Bergman was fake, and they couldn't ask him his real name, because all they had was a body. The man was dead. On June 16th, CCTV shows him leaving the hotel for the last time and walking toward a beach. His body was found days later. He drowned, and no one's ever came forward to identify him or explain who he is or why he did what he did. Lars Matank was a 28-year-old man from Germany. In 2014, he was on vacation in Bulgaria with some friends. After getting into a fight with some other tourists, Lars injured his ear, and a doctor told him that he couldn't fly. His friends went home, leaving him behind alone. And that's when things started to get strange. He texted his mom saying he felt scared and that he thought someone was following him. He asked her to cancel his credit card. A few days later, he went to Varna Airport, planning to fly back home. But during a routine check with the airport doctor, something spooked him. A construction worker reportedly walked into the room, and that's when Lars panicked. The cameras captured him running out of the office. He left his luggage behind, and he sprinted through the terminal, out the doors, and into the nearby woods. As he ran, he reportedly shouted, "I don't want to die here. I have to get out of here." And that was the last anyone ever saw of him. Since then, people have speculated endlessly about what happened. Everything from a sudden psychotic break to a possible kidnapping, but no trace of Lars has ever been found. Now, I've seen some pretty convincing Sasquatch footage over the years, also some not so convincing stuff, but this video is either one of the most incredible pieces of Bigfoot evidence ever captured, or one of the best hoaxes. I'll let you decide, but I mean, look at this. It's not just some dark figure obscured by trees way off in the distance like so many other Sasquatch videos. A lot of people's first thought when they see supposed Bigfoot footage is, well, that's just a guy in a suit. In this case, it's more like, well, that's an actual ape in a tree. The way it moves, the length and shape of the arms, it looks like an actual animal, but apparently this was shot in the United States, so it doesn't really make sense for a gorilla to be chilling in a tree now, does it? Is it AI? Possibly. I know AI can be pretty convincing these days, but I don't see any obvious signs of it. There are no weird glitches, the video looks detailed and it's consistent, but as always, what are your thoughts? This next video clip comes from Moat Owens on TikTok, who captured something horrifying while riding through the woods. Now, what I like here is that Moat Owens doesn't post paranormal themed videos. He's into motorbiking, and that's what his videos are about. He films plenty of rides. It's just here, he happened to film something abnormal. The sun was starting to set as he made his way down the forest trail. Riding up to a fork in the road, he tries to decide what path to take before suddenly noticing how quiet and still it is. Moments before, there were crickets chirping, but out of nowhere, almost all the sound went dead.
It just got really quiet really fast.
And that's when he sees it. Creeping out of the brush is an oddly shaped, pale creature. As soon as he spots it, he revs up his bike and heads back the way he came. What exactly are we looking at in these images? Whatever this thing is, it's large and hairy, but it's clearly not a black bear. Doesn't look very squatch-like either though. Instead, its head is kind of goat-shaped. That's why some believe this to be photographic evidence of a creature called the Maryland Goat Man. In Prince George's County, Maryland, especially the woods around Beltsville, people have described seeing this tall, upright creature with horns, hooves, and a full body covered in hair, part man, part goat. People have claimed to spot it standing in the road or just outside the trees. As for what it is and where it came from, there's a story. The most common version begins at the Beltsville Agricultural Research Center. Supposedly, a scientist was experimenting on goats, something went wrong, and he ended up turning into the creature himself. After that, the story says he disappeared into the surrounding woods and never left. Pretty ridiculous story, but is there some truth to the actual sightings? Is there some sort of goat-like creature roaming the woods? Who knows, but there are plenty of stories, and the Goat Man isn't just seen, he's also heard. People talk about strange calls at night, heavy footsteps in the trees. There are also stories about it going after cars, either chasing them or hitting them as they pass by. What you're looking at here is now infamous footage of a supposed male Sasquatch captured by a man named Todd Standing. Standing refers to this one as Jake. And this is a video of a female Squatch that he calls Jane. Todd Standing is one of the most talked about people when it comes to Bigfoot footage that shows, more than just a blurry shape. In the early 2010s, he started releasing these videos filmed in the wilderness of Alberta, showing Squatches up close. Not just something, running through the trees, but full faces sitting still looking at the camera. Say what you want about the authenticity, if this is a hoax, it's a pretty bold one. This footage really does stand out. The subjects in his clips don't move much, they stay in place, sometimes crouched, partially hidden by trees, watching. You can clearly see their facial features, the shape of the head and the eyes. You have plenty of time to study the video and come to your own conclusion. In 2017, Standing released a documentary called Discovering Bigfoot, where he explains how he got the footage. He says he spent years in remote areas learning how to move without being noticed, eventually getting close enough to film these encounters multiple times. According to him, these weren't one-off sightings. He had repeated interactions in the same areas, and even claimed to form a kind of bond with some of the creatures. He's also taken it further than just filming. In 2018, he filed a case involving the government of British Columbia, arguing that Sasquatch should be officially recognized and protected. The case didn't change anything legally, but it does show how serious he is about what he claims to have documented. Take a look at this nightmarish monstrosity. Gotta say, guy in a costume or not, I do not like this, and I would not like running into it in the dark, in the day, inside, outside, just no thank you all around. This video was posted to TikTok by Fastby Tess Horror with a description reading, Muslim traveler finds himself face to face with a monstrous creature lurking in the shadows. We don't have a lot of context for this footage, just that the guy behind the camera supposedly came across this gargoyle-looking thing leering down at him from a ledge, and the man, completely shaken and petrified, started praying, and you can hear the terror in his voice as he does so. I find this thing deeply unsettling. This is what I kind of picture a genuine demonic creature looking like, although a lot of commenters say it looks like Frank from Donnie Darko, which, I mean, you know what, hey, that doesn't take anything away from it, still makes this creepy as hell. A man named Cody had started noticing odd things going on in his house one day, so he pulled out his phone and started recording. He'd noticed the light in the fridge and bathroom flickering. He also heard water running, so he peeked around the corner of the bathroom and, to his complete shock and confusion, found that the bathroom sink was on. And when a door behind him suddenly shut on its own, he really got freaked out and decided to step outside. He rang up his girlfriend, who urged him to just stay out of the house. Either there was an intruder or something else was going on, but none of it could be good. But Cody went back in to keep filming anyway, and suddenly found the place was a complete mess. Chairs had been knocked over, cupboards were open, so he immediately changed his mind and rightfully left the house again. And 2 hours later, he went back in, took a look in every single room to see if there's anyone there. He didn't find anything. That is, until he went back and looked at the footage that he'd taken later on. While he'd been filming his kitchen after having come back into the house that first time, he'd briefly panned across to his daughter's doorway. But while watching the footage back, he noticed something in the top right-hand corner, so he paused and zoomed in, revealing this. A ghostly-looking face peering out from above the doorway. This chilled him to the bone, and it's easy to see why. There are some very dubious ghost videos and pictures out there. Blurry, often hard to make out, but this looks legitimately terrifying. It's clearly a face, but it does not look human. Speaking of creepy as hell, be glad you don't live in the same building as this next guy. In this short clip, we see a man filming a staircase, lit up by the light from his phone. On the stairs is a man rushing up to the camera. Clearly his intentions aren't good. Either he's just trying to freak out our cameraman, or he's got something worse in mind. Luckily, the cameraman manages to shut the door before the crazed guy manages to get too close, but then, for whatever reason, he decides to open the door back up again to see if the dude's still there, I guess, and it doesn't look like it at first. You know, all we see is the dark, empty stairwell, but in true horror movie fashion, just as the camera peeks around the corner, we get this. It's immediately clear that there is something very wrong with this guy's eyes. Was this dude on something? Is the video just a hoax? Or was this man possessed by a demon or a djinn? Talk about a demon realizing they're being filmed. This thing is right up close, staring directly into this person's car. Take a look. Would you just sit there continuing to film this, or would you be tearing out of there? I know what camp I'm in. I'd be gone. Those are not the eyes of someone who needs directions or wants to be friendly in any way. Those are the eyes of someone whose mouth is about to stretch 3 times its normal size and devour your face in a single chomp. She's almost still as a statue, completely unblinking, which is really what makes the whole thing so downright chilling. But take note of her eyes, just ever so slightly shifting to the person behind the camera. It's such a slight little movement, but just sends shivers up your spine. The fact that she looks so dead-eyed, just staring off into the distance, and then slowly switches to look right down the barrel of the camera, right at us as the viewers, it's just hard not to avert your eyes a little bit.
Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have The Witch in the Cave. This video starts out in an already creepy way, witch or not. It starts in a cave. It appears as though 2 men are searching through this cave. They are speaking to each other and they seem fairly calm, but definitely like something is in the air. I'm not quite sure why they were in the cave in the first place, but their voices are low, they have a flashlight out to cut through the darkness of the cave, and they definitely sound like they are looking for something. After a few seconds, it appears as though the men found maybe not what they were looking for, but they definitely found something. As they walk to a lighter area of the cave where we see some very creepy looking graffiti, we also get a glimpse of a hooded creature that quickly takes off as the men see it. This creature moves in a mysterious way. When slowed down, it looks like the creature basically just jumps up and takes flight, much like a witch would. This footage is just downright weird, and now that you've seen the footage, I ask, what do you think that it was? In our number 9 spot today, we have the flying witch in Mexico. This footage is weird, and I don't have an explanation for it because it really looks like a witch flying on a broomstick. 'Tis the season, I suppose. There isn't much backstory to go off of with this footage, but what I do know is that this incident supposedly took place in Mexico, which honestly wouldn't have been my first guess as to where the witches were hanging out. This footage is pretty grainy and shaky and has a date stamp of 2006, so the footage has definitely been around for a while, and still it doesn't appear like anyone has debunked it. The footage features what I mentioned earlier. It looks like a witch who is flying away. The witch lands and walks for a bit before taking flight once again. Honestly, this video just might have me convinced. In our number 8 spot today, we have La Llorona. Less of a witch creature and more of a character from mythology, this next terrifying video is unlike anything I have ever seen before. This video is said to be footage of La Llorona, or the Weeping Woman. The roots of the Weeping Woman's legend trace back to pre-Columbian times, with some scholars linking her to an Aztec goddess associated with motherhood, fertility, and war. With the arrival of the Spanish and the subsequent blending of culture, the tale evolved, absorbing elements from European folklore and Catholic morality tales. The most common version of her story tells of a woman named Maria, who, in a fit of rage and despair after being betrayed by her husband, she tragically ends the lives of her own offspring in a river. Overcome by grief, she realizes her horrific act too late, and unable to find them in the afterlife, she is condemned to roam the earth eternally. As a ghostly figure, she wanders near bodies of water, weeping and searching for her lost children while crying out, "Oh, my children." All that being said, this video definitely depicts a terrifying and weeping woman. What do you think? In our number 7 spot today, we have the deer. Corinnia Stanhope, a nurse from British Columbia, thought she'd caught a typical woodland scene when she set up a camera near her home to keep an eye on wildlife. But what her trail cam captured instead was anything but ordinary. Instead of animals, she and her 76-year-old grandpa were horrified to find footage of what appeared to be 2 women, some say witches, having a very bizarre late-night feast on a deer carcass. To make things weirder, the women were nearly naked, and at one point, one even lifted a hoof to her mouth. As Corinnia said, "I don't know if she was kissing it, smelling it, or eating it, but whatever it was gross." Understandably, this creepy occurrence had her worried for her horses, who had been spooked in that area before. Some online theorists suggested skinwalkers, others blamed illicit substances, but whatever the case, I think we can probably all agree this is not the kind of trail cam footage you expect to find in your backyard. Would you be brave enough to check that camera the next morning? In our number 6 spot today, we have the TikTok witch. TikTok is a great place, a great app. There's funny videos, interesting videos. My favorite recent trend is the subtle foreshadowing trend. TikTok is also sometimes a place where my For You page curates some of the most horrifying, upsetting things I've ever seen, and this video is definitely one of those moments. This TikTok has 10 million plays, and for good reason. Let me just show you before I say anything else. What is that? What is happening? Is that a creature? Is it special effects makeup? Is it AI, Photoshop, CGI? I have about 45 questions and absolutely no answers.
La Llorona, a ghostly sort of witchy entity in Mexican folklore, a vengeful, dangerous spirit who brings misfortune to whoever comes across her. Well, I feel bad for these people in that case. So a father and daughter were walking alone at night when they spotted something squatting on the hood of their truck. The father starts to approach as his daughter Naomi pleads with him not to get any closer to it, but for the sake of good content, I mean, how can he ignore it? He does. He walks closer and captures this dark demonic figure on top of the car holding what looks to be an infant. The thing just stares at the pair with glowing yellow eyes, cackling and making these eerie growling noises. It's quite the predicament to be in, really. I mean, you just hop into the safety of your car and gun it, hoping La Llorona takes a tumble off the hood, or do you retreat into the night and try and walk home, hoping she doesn't try and follow you? I don't know. I've never faced this situation before. Hope I never do. What's up with the female passenger in this truck? There's something definitely off about her, right? Now, aside from her kinda ghostly appearance, there's a creepy story behind this clip. The footage was taken inside a truck in Mexico. Late at night on March 31st of 2024, a trucker was making a run to the city of Monterrey. The company supervisor was checking in on him using a remote camera, and to his shock, he saw what looked like a woman in old-timey clothes, some say more like 80s clothes, sitting right next to the driver. Now, at first, the supervisor was just kind of irritated. See, he thought the driver had picked up a passenger, which was against company policy, understandably. So the supervisor messaged the driver about it, being like, "What's up with this woman in your truck?" And the driver just looked at his phone and brushed it off. He thought his supervisor was just messing with him, so he continued along with his drive. When he got to his destination, though, the supervisor showed him the dashcam footage, and the driver could not believe what he was seeing. He was adamant that no one was with him during the trip, but there was this woman sitting next to him the entire time. Classic urban legend kind of story. I love ghost stories about people picking up ghost passengers along the road. Always get under my skin. This next one is like something out of Children of the Corn. Take a look. Definitely looks like two cloaked figures performing some sort of ritual. Not the type of thing I'd like to see in the middle of the night alone. The uploader said, "I heard mysterious sounds surrounding the Alps near my village. I am a migrant worker. I followed the sound and came across strange tall figures standing 3.5 meters high. They were moving, what looked like either wings, maybe they were angels. They seemed to be conducting a ritual around a lightning rod. Those rods harbor a lot of energy. Maybe they were gaining energy from that rod. I was scared, but on the other hand, I didn't feel threatened. Still, to see those huge figures in the darkness through misty rain with only my phone's light was amazing. This is something that has completely changed my life and view on life, and now I understand that we really are not the only intelligent beings on this planet." The only thing scarier than a regular sized witch is, an extra tall witch. Take a look at this thing. Yeah, I don't like that. Someone captured this nightmare fuel on the security camera outside their home. Something was crouching and peering at their house from the bushes. A spindly creature with pale skin and glowing eyes. A lot of people say this thing looks like the Slender Man or a rake. The rake creature, not like the tool, obviously. And when it stands up, you really see how tall it is, and I can definitely see the resemblance. But I also do get a kind of witchy vibe here. It almost looks like it might be wearing a black cloak that covers most of its torso. But the featureless face, bald head, and the glowing eyes, it does definitely give off more of a Slender Man feel. Whatever, if I saw that on my home security camera, I'd be packing up my bags right away. I'd sell my home for, $100 if I needed to, and I'd just be on the road. In October of 1996, a man named Jonathan Reed, who described himself as a psychologist, was out walking with his golden retriever in Seattle, Washington. He was heading toward a wooded area near the edge of town when things took a weird turn. His dog suddenly reacted to something in the trees and ran straight into the forest. Reed followed it in. He said he reached a clearing, and that's when he saw his dog barking and attacking something standing there, a small humanoid figure about the size of a 12-year-old child. According to Reed, it was wearing a tight, seamless black suit and had a strange, unstable, quote, vibrating look to its movement. Reed claimed the figure suddenly attacked his dog. tearing it apart. After his dog was dead, it turned to white ash, and that's when the creature turned toward him. Reed grabbed a large stick and struck it in the head with full force. The figure went down and stopped moving. Right after that, Reed reported hearing a low humming sound nearby. He followed it deeper into the woods and came across a black object hovering just above the ground. He had a small camera with him and managed to capture it. After approaching the object, the humming stopped and everything went silent. Reed then returned to where the creature had been. He decided to take the body with him. He wrapped it and brought it back to his home, placing it in the freezer. The next day, he filmed the creature inside his house. He was operating on it. Footage which has since become infamous in UFO and alien forums, by the way. Shortly after the incident, though, Reed said he noticed these white vans outside his home with people watching him. And then, according to him, he came home one day to find his house had been searched and the alien creature gone. He later said that he was followed, threatened, and even shot at, which pushed him into staying silent for years. When he finally went public, he appeared on UFO radio shows and conferences and released parts of his story along with the footage and images. Now, to say this account is far-fetched would obviously be an understatement. People were highly skeptical, and someone pointed out things that didn't quite line up in his story, and it's convenient that there was never any physical evidence for anyone to properly test, but Reed never backed down. He's always stuck with his story. Back in April 2011, a video from Russia suddenly started spreading across the internet after it appeared to show the body of a dead extraterrestrial lying in the snow. The footage was filmed by two men who claimed they'd stumbled on the thing while walking through a wooded area. Laying near a tree stump was what looked like a small humanoid body. It had an oversized head, thin limbs, dark eyes, and part of one leg appeared to be missing. One of the men said, "We found him around 2 hours ago. Must have been lying here for days." According to the story that circulated with the footage, a dog had supposedly led them to the body. Interestingly, there had also been reports in the area at the time of unusual objects in the sky. Michael Cohen of All News Web wrote that people had witnessed a UFO crash that was, quote, deliberately kept from public view. He also asked the question, is the alien seen in this video a survivor of that crash who managed to leave the area only to die as a result of Russia's harsh conditions? Well, within days, millions of people had watched the video. Some were convinced that they were looking at genuine evidence of an alien being. Others said it was just a bunch of BS. The official story in the years since is that this was a hoax, but is it possible they were just trying to cover it up? What do you think? Leave your thoughts down in the comments. On December 1st, 1987, a retired police officer using the name Philip Spencer went out for a morning walk across Ilkley Moor in West Yorkshire, England. He had a camera with him and a compass in his pocket in case the fog rolled in, which apparently wasn't unusual for the area. While crossing the moor, Spencer said he noticed something ahead on the trail. First, it just looked like a small figure standing there. As he got closer, he described it as about 4 feet tall, dark green in color with an oversized head and long, thin arms. The creature lifted its arm in a gesture that he took as a warning to stay back, but instead of turning away, he pulled out his camera and took a photo. That image is the centerpiece of everything that followed, a blurry figure in the distance standing in the open moorland fog. Spencer said the creature then ran off and he chased after it. Spencer claimed that as he lost sight of the figure, he suddenly saw a craft rise up from the moor. He said it was whitish, made of two saucer-like sections that were joined together, one stacked on top of the other. He also reported this loud humming sound as it lifted into the sky and disappeared. After the encounter, he said he ended up walking in a different direction than he planned and eventually realized that something was off with the timing. He believed that he'd lost around 2 hours. Even his compass, which he brought specifically for navigation, was pointing the wrong way. Well, not long after, he reached out to UFO researchers Jenny Randles and Peter Ho, and the photographs started circulating. Experts were brought in to examine it. A wildlife photographer who looked at the image said it didn't match any known animal. Kodak lab staff reportedly said they found no evidence of tampering. At the same time, other experts like US Navy optics specialist Bruce Maccabee said the image was just too grainy to make any firm conclusions. And then there's the part that makes the case even more strange. Spencer later agreed to undergo regressive hypnotherapy on March 16th, 1988. Under hypnosis, his account changed. Instead of just seeing the creature, he now described being paralyzed, lifted, and taken into a craft, where he said a voice told him to stay calm. Inside, he claimed he saw green beings performing medical procedures, including inserting objects into his nose and mouth. After these supposed memories flooded back, he reinterpreted the whole encounter. Maybe the creature hadn't been warning him to stay back. Maybe it was actually waving goodbye to him after he was returned to the moor.
In our number 6 spot today, we have the backyard horror. This video starts off with someone recording in their home. We quickly find out that the reason they started recording is because they noticed something strange in their backyard. Never a good way to start off a video. He apparently was hearing weird voices coming from outside of his house, and of course wanted to record as he investigated, and well, good thing he did. He turns the lights off inside so that he could see what was going on outside better, and, well, absolute nightmare fuel ensues when he does this. As he turns the camera to the dark backyard, he suddenly sees a human-like creature come darting towards him. The figure appears to have come from a bush in the backyard, and who knows how long it had been there for. What is so creepy to me is that this creature clearly knew he was looking into the yard at this point, so I want to know how long it was there for, watching him through the windows. Also, what the hell is that thing? Let me know. In our number 5 spot today, we have the creepy figure. This video starts off with a group of men riding their motorcycles through the woods, which honestly already sounds challenging enough. The video seems to be progressing as one would expect until things take a turn for the worse. Quickly, the video descends into terror and madness as they realize that something or someone is chasing them. You can hear one of the men yelling and screaming for help as the other men in front of him begin to pull over and try and figure out what is happening. That would be absolutely jarring to be just on a fun day out with your friends when suddenly one of them starts screaming for help. Absolutely terrifying already, but I don't think any of the men were expecting to see what happens next. A creepy human-like creature can be seen chasing the men, and when one of them gets off the bike, it begins coming up to the bike and toward the group. The men are caught between being utterly terrified of this encounter while also trying to protect their bike from damage or being stolen. You can absolutely hear the panic in their voices as they try to figure out what exactly is going on. In our number 4 spot today, we have this weird creature. This video comes from Australia, which is of course the land of creepy creatures, and whatever is caught on this video is certainly no exception. The person who captured the video was driving through a deserted forest at night, which just already feels like you're asking for trouble. As they are driving through this creepy area and recording, something appears in front of the car. This creature, whatever it is, although it doesn't look like any animals that I know of, quickly disappears just as quickly as it did appear, moving in a strange and very fast way. Let's take another look at this thing, but slow down a bit. Honestly, I have no explanation for what this is or what it could be. Some believe it's a skinwalker, others believe it's a demon. Whatever you want to believe, let's just hope you never cross paths with it. In our number 3 spot today, we have the Appalachian Trail footage. This next creepy video comes from someone who was hiking by themselves along the Appalachian Trail. He was resting in his tent, again, all alone, when suddenly he began to hear a terrifying screeching sound. I guess when you're out in the wilderness all alone, you really have no choice but to investigate the creepy sound. Better to know where it's coming from than just wait and see and hope for the best. He gets out of his tent and begins recording the sound as he calls out for any response to what could be making this horrifying sound. You can hear the fear in his voice as he tries to shine his light and see as far as he can in the pitch black wilderness. The noise sounds as though it's getting closer and closer, and you can faintly see shadows moving in between the trees as if something knows he is there and is coming to take a look. At one point, it even looks like you can maybe see the reflection of eyes off in the distance. It isn't quite clear exactly what he encountered that day, but whatever it is, I wouldn't want to meet it face to face. In our number 2 spot today, we have the creepy man. This video was taken in a remote area in Montana, out in what appears to be some kind of forest area. Now, a lot of the videos on today's list feature unknown creatures and creepy looking things, but this video looks like it just captures a man. The man gives off a kind of weird vibe to begin with. I mean, he's just standing alone in the woods, which is kind of weird. But the people recording call out to him to see if he's okay, if he needs any help, just to double check, which, you know, that's very nice of them. Unfortunately, instead of just a regular casual encounter, this man suddenly turns into an absolute nightmare. The man begins to move towards the people recording, but not in a normal human way, in a creepy, crawling way that would make anyone feel absolutely disturbed. Was this just a creepy person trying to freak someone out, or was something a little bit more paranormal at play? And finally, in our number 1 spot today, we have the graveyard ghost. Okay, I'll be honest, this video doesn't take place on a trail or in the woods, but it does take place somewhere equally as creepy, and that is a graveyard. Perhaps one of the creepiest places on Earth. It isn't quite clear exactly where this graveyard is, but the person who took the video had initially gone there because they apparently had been hearing some strange noises coming from the cemetery for several days. I feel like if I had heard a strange noise coming from a cemetery, I'd probably call the police, or Ed and Lorraine Warren. The last thing I would ever do would be to take it upon myself to investigate. The curious video taker is clearly braver than I, because they went to explore and definitely found more than they had bargained for. I have absolutely no idea what this thing is, with its elongated limbs and creepy posture. I'm not sure how the person taking the video was able to stand there for so long, but I feel like fight or flight really took over in this case. Was this a ghost, a demon, a zombie? Honestly, at this point, the possibilities are endless.